The galaxy had been quiet for a very long time. Not the normal kind of quiet, not the peaceful silence between stars. This was a heavy silence, a silence that felt wrong, like something that used to be there was suddenly gone. 10,000 years ago, humanity disappeared. No one saw it happen. No great explosion. No final war? No last message. One day they were there, loud, curious, always moving forward. The next day, nothing. At first, other civilizations searched for them. They sent ships to human space. They scanned every planet, every signal, every piece of debris. They found ruins, dead cities floating in orbit, broken ships drifting in cold space, empty colonies still powered but with no life inside. It was like humanity had just vanished. Over time, the search stopped. Stories began. Some said humans destroyed themselves. Others believed they unlocked something they could not control. A few even whispered that humans had left the galaxy on purpose, but no one knew the truth. After thousands of years, humanity became a myth, a warning told to young species. Do not grow too fast. Do not reach too far, or you will end up like them. And so the galaxy moved on. New empires rose. New wars were fought. New alliances were made. Humanity was forgotten, or at least, that's what everyone believed. Far from the busy trade routes and shining core worlds, there was a lonely place. A small listening station floated in deep space, orbiting a cold and dying star. The star gave almost no light. It barely held itself together. No one cared about this system. It had no value. That's why the station was placed there. Its only job was to listen. Day after day, year after year, century after century. It listened to the noise of the universe, random signals, background radiation, broken transmissions from long-dead civilizations. Most of the time, there was nothing important. Inside the station, a small crew worked in silence. They were not explorers, not soldiers, just watchers. One of them was a young operator named Lyra. She had been assigned to the station for 2 standard cycles. To her, the job was simple and boring. Sit, watch the screens, report anything unusual, but nothing was ever unusual until that day. It started as a flicker, a small spike on one of the monitors. Lyra almost ignored it. Signals came and went all the time. Most were just noise, but something felt different. The pattern repeated, once, then again. She leaned closer to the screen. Strange, she whispered. The signal was weak, very weak. It looked old, like it had traveled for a long time. She ran a quick scan. No known origin, no clear frequency match. Still, it repeated, again and again. Not random, not noise. A pattern. Her heart started to beat faster. Control. I think I found something, she said. The others didn't react much at first. Probably another ghost signal, one of them replied. Log it and move on. Ghost signals were common. Old echoes from ancient transmissions still moving through space. But Lyra didn't move on. She focused on the signal. Carefully, she cleaned the noise. Adjusted the filters. Boosted the strength. The pattern became clearer. Then, something changed. The signal shifted. It wasn't just a pattern anymore. It was structured, like language. Lyra froze. No way, she said under her breath. She pushed the data through a translation system. At first, the system struggled. The signal was too damaged, too old, but piece by piece, it began to form something, a sound, broken, distorted, but real. The room went quiet as the speakers came alive, a voice, faint, cracking, like it was coming from across time itself. The crew looked at each other, no one spoke. The signal continued. Lyra's hands trembled. The system struggled to hold the translation together. Still, one of the senior operators slowly stood up. This is not possible, he said. The final word came through. Here. Silence filled the station. No one moved. No one breathed. They all stared at the screen, at the signal, at the impossible message. The operator rushed to the main console, traced the origin. Now Lyra quickly ran the command. The system worked through layers of data, calculating direction, distance, age. The answer appeared slowly, then all at once. Her eyes widened. Location confirmed. she said softly. Where? The others asked. She hesitated because she already knew the name. Everyone did. The grave zone. The room went cold. The grave zone. Region of space no one entered. A place marked on every star map with warnings. That was where Earth once existed, where humanity had lived and where they had ended. Ships that went too close often lost contact. Sensors failed. Signals disappeared. Some said the space itself was damaged. Others believed something was still there, watching, waiting. No, one wanted to find out. The signal repeated again, louder this time, clearer. We are still here. Lyra felt a chill run down her spine. That signal, it's not random, she said. It's repeating on purpose. Like a beacon, someone added. No, the senior operator said slowly, not a beacon. He looked at the screen, his face pale. It's a message from the dead. A message from a species that had been gone for 10,000 years. A message that should not exist. And yet, it did. Outside, the dead star flickered faintly. Inside the station, no one spoke. Because they all understood one thing. If the signal was real, then humanity was not gone, and if humanity was not gone, then something in the galaxy was very, very wrong. Far away, deep inside the forbidden region of space, something ancient stirred. Something that had been silent for thousands of years. Something that had been waiting, watching, listening. And now, it knew it had been heard. The signal continued. The signal did not stop. It kept repeating again and again like a heartbeat echoing through the empty dark. We are still here. Inside the listening station, no one spoke for a long time. The words felt heavy, not just because of what they said, but because of where they came from, the grave zone. Even saying the name felt wrong. Lyra stared at the screen, her eyes locked on the signal data. Her hands moved slowly, almost carefully, like she was afraid the signal might disappear if she rushed. It's getting stronger, she said quietly. The senior operator turned to her. That's not possible. Signals weaken over time. I know, Lyra replied. But this one, it's not fading. It's stabilizing. That made no sense. A signal traveling for thousands of years should be broken, scattered, almost gone. But this one, it was holding together, like something was maintaining it. Send it to the council, the senior operator said. No one argued. Within minutes, the full data packet was transmitted across deep space, toward the Galactic Council, the most powerful authority in the known galaxy. Then they waited. The signal continued. Hours passed. Then, a reply came, short, urgent, do not engage, do not respond. Maintain observation, that was all. Lyra frowned. That's it? That's their answer? The senior operator nodded slowly. They're afraid. Afraid of what? Another crew member asked. He looked back at the signal. Of what this means. Far away, in the bright core of the galaxy, the Galactic Council was already in chaos. Leaders from dozens of civilizations filled the chamber. Some were calm. Others were angry. Many were afraid. A massive projection of the signal played in the center of the room. We are still here. Again. And again. A tall figure stepped forward. This is clearly a trap, he said. Humans were unstable. If any part of them survived, we cannot allow it to grow. Another voice replied. Or this could be something pretending to be human. Something worse. Murmurs spread across the chamber, then a quieter voice spoke. What if it's real? The room fell silent. What if humanity did not die? No one wanted to answer that question, because everyone remembered the old records. Humans were fast, creative, dangerous. They built things no one understood. They went places no one dared. And then, they vanished if they were still alive. What had they become after 10,000 years? We need answers, one of the council leaders said firmly. Not fear. Not guesses. He turned toward the central display. Send a ship. Back at the listening station, the order arrived quickly. A single exploration vessel would be deployed. Its mission was simple. Enter the grave zone, locate the source of the signal. Return with the truth. Lyra read the message twice. They're really going in, she whispered. The senior operator nodded. Looks like it. Who would agree to that? Someone asked. No one answered, because everyone knew the truth, only the brave or the desperate. 2 cycles later, the ship arrived. It was called the Silent Reach. Small, fast, built for deep exploration. Its surface was smooth and dark, designed to blend into the shadows of space. Its engines were quiet. Its sensors advanced, but even with all that, it was heading into a place where ships disappeared. Lyra watched as the ship appeared on her screen. They're preparing to enter the boundary, she said. Open a channel, the senior operator replied. A moment later, the face of the ship's captain appeared, calm, focused. Listening station, this is Captain Reth, he said. We are approaching the grave zone. Lyra hesitated, then spoke. You've heard the signal? Yes, the captain replied. What do you think it is? She asked. The captain paused. Then he said something that made the entire room uneasy. I think it wants to be found. The boundary of the grave zone was not marked by a wall or a line, but everyone knew when they reached. Its sensors began to flicker. Star readings became unstable. Even light seemed to behave strangely. The space ahead looked darker, heavier, like a storm that never moved. Entering now, the captain said. The ship moved forward slowly, carefully, the moment it crossed into the grave zone. Everything changed. Back at the station, Lyra's screen filled with warnings. Signal interference detected, she said. We're losing clarity. The captain's voice crackled through the channel. Systems are stable. For now, then static, then silence. Captain, do you read? Lyra asked. No response. Her heart started racing. Then suddenly, the signal returned. Weak, but there. We are still here, but now there was something else. A second sound beneath it. Faint, almost hidden. Lyra adjusted the filters again. What is that? She whispered. The sound became clearer. Not words, not exactly. More like echoes, fragments, like pieces of many voices, overlapping each other. On the other side, inside the grave zone, the ship drifted forward. The crew was silent. They all felt it, the strange pressure, the feeling of being watched. Report, the captain ordered. Navigation is unstable, one crew member said. Stars don't match our charts. Communications are fluctuating, another added. Something is interfering. Then one of them froze. Captain, you need to see this. The main screen flickered, then stabilized. What they saw made their blood run cold. Floating in the darkness was a shape. Massive, broken, silent. A ship. But not just any ship. A human ship. Its surface was torn apart. Its structure damaged. But there was no mistaking its design, ancient, familiar, and impossible. How is that still here? Someone whispered. The captain didn't answer. He couldn't, because as they watched, a faint light flickered on the ship. Back at the listening station, Lyra leaned closer to her screen. The signal just spiked. She said, It's stronger than before. The words came through again, clearer, louder. We are still here, and this time, it felt less like a message and more like a warning. Inside the grave zone, the captain stared at the ancient ship. Something was wrong, very wrong, because that ship was not dead, and slowly, very slowly, it began to move. The human ship should not have moved. It had been floating in space for 10,000 years. Its surface was broken, its engines cold, its body torn apart by time, and yet it moved very slowly, very slightly, but enough. Inside the silent reach, no one spoke. The crew stared at the screen, trying to understand what they were seeing. That's not possible, one of them said. Nothing should still be active after this long. The captain did not respond. His eyes stayed fixed on the drifting human ship. Scan it, he ordered. The sensors reached out, touching the ancient vessel with invisible waves. The data came back in pieces. Hull integrity, critical. Power systems, minimal. Life signs, none. But then, Captain, the sensor officer said slowly, there's energy inside. The room went still. What kind of energy? The captain asked. I don't know, the officer replied. It's not like anything in our database, not heat, not radiation, not anything normal. Something else, something wrong. Suddenly, the communication system crackled. Static filled the air. Then, a voice. Not the signal they had been hearing before. Something new. Something closer. Here, the crew froze. Did that come from the ship? Someone whispered. You. The captain stepped forward. Open a direct channel, he said. That might not be safe, another officer warned. Do it. The channel opened. For a moment, there was only silence, then the voice returned, broken, weak, but clearer than before. Can you hear us? Lyra's voice echoed in the captain's mind from earlier. I think it wants to be found. He swallowed. Yes, he said slowly. We can hear you. The response came instantly. You came. The words felt heavy, like they carried more than just sound, like they carried time. Back at the listening station, Lyra jumped to her feet. We're getting a live transmission, she said. The entire crew gathered around her screen. This isn't the repeating signal, she added. This is different, she boosted the audio. The same broken voice filled the room. You came. The senior operator's face turned pale. That's not a recording, he said. That's real. Inside the grave zone, the crew of the Silent Reach waited. Identify yourself, the captain said. There was a long pause, then, human. The word hit them like a shock. Human. Not a machine. Not an echo. A human. That's impossible, one of the crew whispered. They're gone. Not gone? The voice replied. The crew looked at each other in fear. It heard them, it understood them. Where are you? The captain asked. Another pause, then, everywhere. A cold feeling spread through the ship. What does that mean? Someone asked quietly. No one answered. Suddenly, the human ship's lights flickered again. This time, more of them turned on, small points of light across its broken surface like eyes opening in the dark. Captain, we need to leave, the navigation officer said. Something is not right here. The captain hesitated. Every instinct told him to turn back, to escape. But the mission, the truth, he needed answers. Move closer, he ordered. The ship slowly advanced toward the human vessel. The distance between them shrank. With every meter, the strange feeling grew stronger, heavier, like the space itself was pressing against them. Systems are fluctuating, the engineer said. We're losing stability. Hold it together, the captain replied, just a little. Closer, as they approached. More details became visible. The human ship was not just damaged, it was altered. Parts of its structure looked wrong, twisted, not by impact, but by something else, something that had changed it over time. Captain, the sensor officer said again, there are signals all around us. What kind of signals? Multiple, thousands, maybe more. The captain's eyes widened. From where? The officer looked at the data, then slowly turned toward the main screen. From everything, the captain looked outside. At first, he saw nothing but darkness, then faint lights, far away, scattered across space, small dim, but there, zoom in, he said. The screen focused on one of the lights. It grew larger, clearer. Another. Ship human broken silent. Another one. Someone whispered. Then another light appeared, and another. And another. Captain, the officer said, his voice shaking, they're not just near us. They're everywhere. The grave zone was not empty. It was full of human ships. Thousands of them, drifting, waiting, watching. Back at the listening station, Lyra stared at the incoming data, her screen filled with signals, more than she could count. This can't be real, she said. The senior operator stepped closer. What is it? She looked at him, fear in her eyes. The signal. It's not coming from one source. It's coming from all of them. Inside the Silent Reach, the captain felt his chest tighten. Fall back, he ordered suddenly. Now. The ship turned, engines powering up, but something was wrong. We're not moving. The pilot shouted. Something is holding us. The lights outside grew brighter. More ships were waking up. More signals were rising. The voice returned. Stronger now. Clearer. Not just one voice. Many voices. All speaking together. You came. You heard us. You are not alone. The crew covered their ears. The sound was everywhere, inside the ship, inside their heads. What do you want? The captain shouted. The voices answered, slow, heavy, unnatural, to be remembered. The captain's heart pounded. This is wrong, he said. This is all wrong. Suddenly, the main human ship in front of them shifted again. This time, it did not drift. It turned, slowly, deliberately, facing them. Its broken surface opened. Not like a door. Not like any machine. More like something alive. Captain, someone whispered, what is that? From inside the ship, a light appeared. Deep, endless, pulling, and then the signal changed, no longer broken, no longer weak, clear, strong, impossible. We are still here. And this time, it was not a message, it was a truth. The light inside the human ship did not fade. It grew stronger. Not bright in a normal way, but deep. Like it had no end. Like looking into something that was not just light, but memory, time, something alive. Inside the silent reach, the crew stood frozen. No one moved. No one spoke. They could feel it, that strange pull, not on their bodies, but on their minds. Look away, the captain said quietly. But it was hard, very hard. The light felt like it was calling them. Systems failing, the engineer said, his voice shaking. Navigation is gone. Engines are not responding. The captain turned. Back to the screen. The human ship was fully facing them. Now open, awake, watching. Then something unexpected happened. The light changed. It began to form. Shapes, lines, symbols, patterns, data. Captain, it's transmitting something, the sensor officer said. Can you read it? The captain asked. I'm trying. The officer worked quickly, his hands moving across the controls. It's not just a signal, he said. It's a data stream, massive. I've never seen anything like this. Back at the listening station, Lyra gasped. We're receiving it too, she said. Her screen filled with endless lines of information, images, sounds, fragments of history. It's too much, one of the crew said. We can't process all of this. Lyra didn't respond. She was already trying. Inside the ship, the data continued to flow. The crew began to see flashes on their screens, scenes, moments, memories, a human city, alive, full of light, people walking, talking, living, then darkness, sudden, complete. Another scene, a fleet of human ships, moving together, not attacking, not running, gathering, preparing. Another, flash, a strange shape in space, massive black knot, like any ship, not like anything. Known, it did not move like a machine, it consumed. The crew watched in silence. What is that? Someone whispered. No one answered, but deep down, they knew. The voice returned. Not many voices this time, just one, calm, clear. You see now. The captain stepped forward. What is this? He demanded. What happened to you? The light pulsed and more images came. Human scientists, working fast, arguing, afraid. A message being sent across their systems. It is spreading. More images, planets going dark, not destroyed, just empty. Like life had been erased, the same black shape again. Larger now, closer. The crew of the Silent Reach felt a cold fear rise inside them. This is what they found, the captain said slowly. The voice spoke again. It does not destroy. It erases. Lyra whispered at the station, repeating the words. Erases. Inside the ship, the captain clenched his fists. And you couldn't stop it? He asked, a long pause, then. We tried. More images. Human fleets attacking the dark shape. Weapons firing, ships lost. No effect. The shape did not fight back. It simply moved forward, and everything in its path disappeared. The crew watched in horror. This thing, it can't be stopped, one of them said. The voice responded. Not by force. Silence. Then the next images appeared. Human, leaders, standing together, making a choice. The message changed. Now, it showed a plan, a desperate one. Isolation protocols activated. Shut down all transmission, erased all external signals. The captain's eyes widened. They hid, he said. They tried to disappear. The voice confirmed. We became silent. We let the galaxy forget us. Back at the station, Lyra felt her chest tighten. They let themselves be erased, she said softly. On purpose. Inside the ship, the data kept coming. Human systems shutting down. Colonies going dark. Ships drifting. Signals fading. It looked like extinction. But it was not. It was hiding. But the signal, the captain said. You sent the signal. The light flickered. Not then. A new image appeared. Time passing, stars moving, silence growing, thousands of years, nothing, then a change, the dark shape again, but different, more of them. They're back, one of the crew whispered. The voice spoke. It returned. The captain felt a chill run through him. And the signal? He asked, why now? The answer came slowly. Because you are not ready. The room went silent. Back at the station, Lyra stared at the screen. Her hands trembled. They're warning us, she said. Inside the ship, the captain stepped closer to the console. You could have stayed hidden, he said. Why reveal yourselves? The light dimmed slightly, as if the answer carried weight. Because silence will not save you. The crew looked at each other, fear growing. The captain's voice hardened. Then tell us how to stop. The light pulsed again, but this time, the answer was different, not words, not images, a feeling. Heavy, cold, final. Then the voice returned. You cannot. The ship fell silent. No one moved. No one spoke. Back at the station, Lyra whispered the words again. You cannot. Inside the grave zone, the human ships around them began to glow, one by one. Thousands of lights in the darkness. The captain looked out at them. What are you doing? He asked. The voice answered. What we have always done. The lights grew brighter, stronger. We endure. The signal surged, filling. Every system, every channel, every mind. Wait, the captain felt his breath catch. Wait for what? He asked. The answer came like a final truth. For the moment it returns. Far beyond the grave zone, something moved, and for the first time in 10,000 years, it had been noticed and it was coming. The words still echoed inside the ship. For the moment it returns. No one spoke after that. Inside the silent reach, the air felt heavy. Every system flickered with unstable light. Every screen showed the same thing. Human signals rising across the grave zone. Not one, not a few. Thousands. Captain, the sensor officer said slowly. There's a massive energy increase across the entire region. How massive? The captain asked. The officer swallowed. Everything. Outside the ship, the darkness was no longer empty. Lights were appearing everywhere. Small at first, then brighter, then impossible to ignore. Every human ship in the grave zone was waking up. Back at the listening station, Lyra stared in shock. Her screens were filled with activity. The grave zone, once silent for thousands of years, was now alive with signals. They're all activating, she said. All of them. The senior operator stepped closer. This isn't just a reaction, he said. This is preparation. Inside the grave zone, the crew of the Silent Reach watched as the ancient human fleet came to life. Ships that had drifted for thousands of years now moved slowly into position. Broken hulls sealed themselves. Dead engines sparked with new power. Structures that should have collapsed long ago held together. This isn't possible, one of the crew whispered. They were dead. The captain shook his head. No, he said quietly. They were waiting. The voice returned, clearer than ever. No, longer broken, no longer weak, you see. Now, the captain looked forward. Yes, he said, I see. But I don't understand. The human ships began to align. Not randomly, not slowly, but with perfect precision, like they had done this before. What are you preparing for? The captain asked. There was no answer, not in words. Instead, the stars themselves seemed to change. Captain, look at this, the navigation officer said. The main screen shifted, zooming out, far beyond the grave zone. At first, it looked like nothing, just empty space. Then, a distortion, a small ripple, like something bending the fabric of space itself. What is that? Someone whispered. The ripple grew, slowly, then faster. The sensors screamed. Unknown object detected. Nope, multiple objects. They're not ships. The captain's heart pounded. This is it, he said. Back at the listening station, alarms began to ring. Lyra's screen flashed red. New signals detected, she said. Outside the grave zone. The senior operator leaned in. Show me. The data appeared. And for a moment, no one could understand it. Then it became clear. Something was entering the galaxy. Not through normal space. Not through known travel routes. It was appearing. Is that the same thing? One of the crew asked. Lyra looked at the data again, compared it with the old transmissions, the ones from the human memory stream. Her face went pale. Yes, she said. Inside the silent reach, the captain watched as the distortion grew larger. It twisted the stars around. A light bent. Time itself seemed unstable. Then something emerged, dark, massive, silent. It did not look like a ship. It had no clear shape, no edges, no structure. It was like a shadow, a moving absence. Target confirmed, the sensor officer whispered. It matches the human data. The crew felt fear like they had never known before. That thing, someone said. That's what ended them. The captain shook his head, slowly. No, he said. It didn't end them. He looked at the glowing human fleet. Around them, it made them hide. The voice returned, stronger than ever. It has come back. The human ships reacted instantly. Their lights surged. Energy built across their entire fleet. What are they doing? The pilot asked. The captain watched closely. They're not running, he said. The truth became clear. They're preparing to fight. Back at the listening station, Lyra's hands moved quickly. We need to warn the council, she said. They need to know what's coming. The senior operator nodded. Send everything, he said. Now, the full transmission launched into deep space, carrying the truth. Carrying the warning, but even as it left, something else happened. The signal changed again. No longer just inside the grave zone. Now, it spread outward, across the galaxy. Every receiver, every station, every ship, the same message. Clear, powerful, unavoidable. We are still here. Civilizations across the galaxy stopped. They heard it, all of them, and for the first time in 10,000 years, humanity spoke to everyone. Inside the silent reach, the captain stood still, watching the human fleet, watching the approaching darkness. What are you planning? He asked. The answer came like a promise. What we have always done. The energy around the human ships grew, brighter, stronger. Weapon systems came online. Defensive. Fields activated. But there was something else, something different. Not just weapons, a network, all the ships, connected. Sharing energy. Sharing data. Becoming one. The captain's eyes widened. They're not just a fleet, he said. They're a system. The darkness moved closer. Slow. Unstoppable. Stars vanished behind it. Light disappeared. The crew felt it again. That cold, empty feeling like being erased, Captain. The pilot whispered. What do we do? The captain looked at the human fleet, at the light, at the strength. Then he said something he never thought he would say. We stay. The crew looked at him in shock. We stay? Someone repeated. Yes, he said. Because whatever happens next. He looked back at the approaching darkness. We need to witness it. The human signal surged one last time. Stand back. The fleet moved forward toward the darkness, toward the impossible, and for the first time in 10,000 years, humanity stepped out of the shadows. Ready. Waiting no longer. Awake. The human fleet moved forward, not fast, not chaotic, but with a strange kind of calm, like they already knew how this would end. Inside the silent reach, the crew watched in silence. No one gave commands. No one tried to escape anymore. Even fear had become something different now, something quiet and heavy. The darkness in front of them kept growing. It was not a ship, not a fleet, not even a weapon in the normal sense. It was absence, a moving emptiness that erased light, erased signals, erased meaning itself. Stars disappeared as it passed them. Space behind it looked untouched, but wrong. Like reality had been scraped clean. Captain, the sensor officer said softly. It's entering full range now. The captain nodded. I see it, across the grave zone. Every human ship lit up at once, not in panic, not in defense, but in synchronization. A network of ancient machines, finally awake after 10,000 years of silence. Back at the listening station, Lyra's screen was shaking with data overload. The entire galaxy is receiving the signal, she said. It's not just local anymore. It's everywhere. The senior operator stared at the screen. This is no longer a transmission, he said quietly. This is an announcement. And then, the human voice returned, but this time, it was different, stronger, clear, no longer broken by time. We are still here. The words spread across every channel, every system, to every listening post, every civilization. Even those who had forgotten humanity heard it again and remembered fear. Inside the grave zone, the human fleet began to move in formation. Ships aligned across vast distances, forming geometric patterns in space. Energy began to build between them, not from one source, but from all of them together. It's a unified system, the captain whispered. They're not individual ships anymore. The pilot looked confused. Then what are they? The captain didn't answer right away. He watched the formation grow tighter, the energy stronger, the signal louder. Then he said, "They are what remains." The darkness slowed. It noticed them. For the first time, the empty force seemed to react. It shifted direction, focused, like it had found something worth consuming. A low vibration spread through space. The crew felt it through their instruments and through their bones. "What is it doing?" someone asked. The sensor officer checked the readings. "It's responding to the human formation, like it recognizes them." The captain tightened his fists. "So it remembers them." The human ships responded. Instantly, their lights surged brighter than before, and then they spoke again, but not as individuals, as one voice, one system, one memory. It came back. The darkness paused, just for a moment. That moment changed everything. Inside the listening station, Lyra leaned forward. "It reacted," she said. "It actually reacted to them." The senior operator nodded slowly. "It knows them." The truth settled in the room like ice. Whatever this thing was, it had been here before, and humanity had faced it before. The human fleet moved again, forward into the darkness. "This is insane," the pilot whispered. "They're going straight into it." The captain watched closely. "No," he said. "They're not going into it. They're meeting it." The gap between the fleet and the darkness closed, slowly, unstoppably. The space between them started to distort, light bent in strange ways. Time felt uneven. The crew struggled to keep their instruments stable. "Readings are collapsing," the engineer said. "We're losing all frame reference," but the captain did not look away. The human signal rose, again, stronger than ever, filling everything. "We are still here." And then something unexpected happened. The darkness stopped, not retreating, not attacking, just stopping. The entire galaxy seemed to hold its breath. "What is it doing?" someone whispered. The answer came in a way no one expected. The human ships began to glow, not just externally, but internally, like something inside them was awakening fully for the first time. Energy. Patterns formed between them. Structure. A shape. Not a weapon. Not a shield. Memory. The captain's eyes widened. "They're reconstructing something." The engineer shook his head. "No, that's not possible. That level of coordination." But it was happening. The fleet was becoming something else, something larger than ships, larger than machines. Single intelligence made of thousands of ancient parts, and then the voice returned, but softer this time, almost final. "You remember us." The darkness shifted again, slowly, and for the first time, it seemed uncertain. Lyra's voice broke the silence back at the station. "It doesn't understand them anymore," she said. "It expected something else." The senior operator nodded. "Because humans changed." Inside the grave zone, the human formation completed. The structure they formed in space was now fully visible, a massive geometric pattern of light. Perfect. Infinite. Alive. The captain whispered, "What is that?" The answer came instantly from the human voice. "Us." The formation pulsed once, twice, and the darkness reacted not with attack, not with movement, but with retreat, so impossible. It pulled back, like something wounded, something that finally met resistance. The crew watched in disbelief. "It's leaving," someone said. The captain narrowed his eyes. "No," he said. "It's not leaving. It's recognizing defeat." The darkness continued to withdraw, shrinking into itself. Stars returned slowly behind it. Light came back. Space healed, and the human signal rose one final time, louder than ever before, across every system, across every world, across every forgotten corner of the galaxy. "We are still here," but now it meant something different. Not survival, not warning, not memory. It meant victory. Inside the listening station, Lyra sat back slowly. Her hands stopped shaking. The silence returned, but it was not the same silence as before. This one felt alive. The senior operator spoke quietly. "So they didn't die?" Lyra nodded. "No," she said. "They waited." Outside, the stars burned brighter again, and somewhere far beyond the grave zone, humanity remained, not as ghosts, not as legends, but as something far more dangerous, a species that refused to disappear. And the galaxy finally understood the truth. Humanity was never gone. They were just waiting for the moment to say it again. "We are still here."